What is up, guys? Welcome back to another podcast. How was that?
That was amazing. What's going on, guys? Another podcast of Doom of Fools. This is my best friend, HolySeptic. He's one of the best Atraxa players on the planet. Introduce yourself. What's up, Holy?
HolySeptic. I'm the Crom to Josh's Tevish, Doom of Fools. I love Atraxa. Atraxa's the best card in Magic. I did YouTube. Probably starting it up soon. Found an editor. I hate editing. As you obviously know, Josh, editing sucks.
Oh my god.
I own an LLC for selling cards called RNG Roundtable LLC. It's very brand new. I don't even have a TCG store up yet. We're working on it, but look for the future. But
yeah, I'll put all the links in the Discord and stuff below for sure. So let's get into it. What's your background? How'd you get into Magic and how'd you get in CDH? Let the people know.
See, me and CDH have like a toxic relationship. I keep quitting, but then I keep coming back every time. Dude, it's definitely never changing, dude. I always realize I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I love this format. And then something happens, like Sorcery Speed Pyroblast on my Atraxa, and I'm just like, But anyways, back, it's gotta be, it was before like I even moved, so like 2010, dude. It's the first time I saw a Magic card. This is a dumb kid, 2010, I was like 6, right? Just had the cards, looked at the pictures, as dumb kids do.
I like
Fred to school,
Yay.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, yay, definitely. Yeah, I was like, yay, pretty cards, awesome, cool. And then, I switched to Pokemon because Pokemon are way cooler back when I was a youngin'.
I would love to see a 10-year-old fat HolySeptic. Look at it, that right, Simon, Daddy.
I was so child. I was like, look, Daddy, Black Lotus. I'm gonna trade it for a Snicker. Yeah, it was dumb. That's such a Pokemon like a little fat kid would do anyways. So you came home one day, you were like, there's this Magic thing I play. A guy at work introduced me to it, and I was like, oh, I know what this is. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking blows. What do you do? I don't remember what I...
You're like, holy shit, I used to play Magic. What are you talking about? I'm like, oh, you would like to? And then we played for 5 fucking hours straight and fell in love with it. We played Commander.
No, I didn't fall in love with Commander until I built my very first deck.
Yep, you're right.
I was like, all right, we're chilling playing Commander. I'm playing this fucking Brina the Demigorg precon. Or whatever that card is, that black-white fucking dumb thing they're putting in farm now. Yeah, it draws other people cards. And I didn't read the card one time. There was too much words on it. I didn't even use the ability not once. Yeah. It was just a flyer. Like, I didn't do anything with it. Yeah. And then we did that for like a couple of days. And then I bought another precon, Kyler. And I was like, I want my own deck, like a brand new deck. So I was like, okay, this is cool. I make humans, which I played entirely wrong. I cheated every game of Magic I've ever played. Yeah, I didn't know that +1/+1 they weren't countered. They're just +1/+1 like a static thing. And then I was like, holy shit, there's so much counters.
Oh my God.
Classification. I played classification. It said +20/+20. I was like, holy shit, 20 counters? And like, it was so
damage. We're not talking about that.
Oh god, dude, having fucking 35 Dragon damage or 35 feather damage.
I want people to listen to this and build Atraxa and play CDH, not these fucking casuals.
Oh god, oh yeah, all right. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Humble beginnings.
So then I went home one night randomly, and I was like, I had a green-white deck, I had a black-white deck. I really like the whole, I like white a lot. It's my favorite color in Magic.
Red, white, yeah.
Red, white, feather. That's the first deck I actually bought that wasn't a precon, was feather. So I had red, white, green, white, and black, white. So I wanted a blue-white deck. So, back then, we didn't have, like, the database, or we didn't know anything about that. So we went on EDH Rec and looked up blue-white commanders, and then I fucking saw it. My one true love, Shabraz the Sky Shark. And I was like, holy shit. And I ignored the part that said partner with because I didn't understand what partner was. So I clicked on that deck and I was like, oh, it has red in it? Oh, it's America colors? Oh, yeah. So I went there and I went on EDH Rec and I just picked every card and said that was good in the deck. Like, I just put it all in one deck with fucking 12 islands, 12 plains, 12 mountains, and like a tapped Azorius land. Like, that was the deck. And then the only like there's like 3 instances, and one of them was fucking Fierce Guardianship back when it was like $5. We're not gonna talk about it. Like $12.
You're
but
flying tribal.
yeah, flying try. Every card said flying. But so that's when I really fell in love with Commander. Like, I wanted to play every single day. Like, that's all I wanted to do. And then came fucking Heliod, which is like probably my first experience with like competitive, because I had the Ballista combo in it.
Yeah. High power combo. Yeah, you kept winning every fucking game. And at this point, we're playing 1v1.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where, like, I'm good. Like, I don't want to play against that stupid ass deck.
And then we have to talk about the fucking deck, dude. The mono black deck that was supposed to rival Heliod.
So anyway,
Was that your first?
so
That was your first Hemish deck, right?
No.
Oh, damn it.
I don't know what you're talking about. So getting into CDH.
Hemish Tormod, yes.
Yeah,
All right.
so yeah, we'll talk about it. So pretty much Dave, he's a local hero here in Leesburg, and he was like, "Look at this cool commander," and I was like, "What is this? What is going on?" So then I didn't know, because I'm dumb. I didn't know. I clicked on if you look up Tevish on EDH Rec, 3 years ago, the only guy that popped up was Tormod. I didn't know you can like mix colors like that. I had no idea, because I'm pretty sure this was before Balance Bros, but I don't remember. But I just remember, I'm like, oh, okay, mono black, this is dope. And then I made it all about activating the gain control of commanders. That's all I did. It was zombies, it was that. The deck was trash. It's fucking straight dog shit, and it sucked. And then Tevis Thasios, and then Tevis Crom. But anyways.
Yeah, it was dope. That was awesome. It was after Balance Bros, so I had Heliod, and you're like, I found the deck that's gonna rival Heliod. Mono black versus mono white.
Yeah, I remember, because it was partner with, and then I just saw partner. Yeah. I didn't understand the rules. I didn't get them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Me neither. I still don't understand any rules.
Good times. I remember getting into CDH specifically. I think you were gone. I think you were a senior or junior in high school. Me and Andrew went to Daytona to play with Twitch and them. And then I went Swamp Pass, and I lost. And I'm like, oh, this isn't even the same format. So I came over to you, and I'm like, bro, we need to get it. Because me and you were like, who would want to believe you? So dumb and stupid. And
vomit.
Yeah.
Ash's Oracle? What's that?
Yeah, that's stupid. So then we got into that. And what was your first CDH deck? Was it Brawling Shabazz?
Yeah, that's what I tried to make CDH, because I learned the breach combo. I explained to you the breach combo.
Yep.
I talked you through the breach combo.
You beat Switch at my birthday in Jacksonville?
Yeah, dude, I fucking put my cock on the table. He was like 2 5-mana 3/3s, 5-mana 4-mana 3/3s.
Yep.
I was like, yeah.
And you
just got smacked
on the World Breach, and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Switch had to like fix something to watch WrestleMania on the TV. He's like, all right, let me know when you win. And you were like, what the fuck?
My first time in person, like winning a game of CDH Magic.
We never played a pod. It was always just me and you.
Yeah, it's my first ever. Like,
yeah,
it was like one of my first ever. I think it was like probably my first full CDH pod. I fucking won with Brawling Bros.
Good times.
Good times.
I was on Tigum. I was on Tevis Thasios. Oh,
Tigum. I was on Heliod Brawling Bros.
Yeah,
good times.
Wait,
before we move on real quick, I want to say, I know it's not like relevant right now, but I felt like that last night at this Modern FNM. I had to ask about blocking with First Strike, and I felt like that. Because it's not fucking relevant in CDH. That never comes up. I had to ask, like, does First Strike work with blocking? I had to genuinely ask. The City's Blessing. I didn't know the City's Blessing worked.
Right, yeah.
He was like, I have tournament results in CDH, and I'm asking this guy about fucking First Strike. I'm just like, bruh. But, yeah, anyways.
Well, I remember the biggest thing about this podcast, and the reason why I started it, is because people like us playing casual, playing Commander, it's so much fun, and then obviously we're competitive by nature, getting into competitive and making it not such a, oh my god, it's a turn 2 format, it's a this, it's a that. No, it's actually really fun with your friends as well, and the competitiveness. Well, me and you won that last tournament together, and with these shit ass butt pet deck of ours, I had the time of my life. You probably didn't, but I did, and I was like, this is just the peak. I didn't win any money. I won some packs, and then at the end we played against the judge and the owner for the pack that I already won. It didn't even matter. I had a great time, and that's what's Commander about. So that's why I'm playing this, because we didn't even play with stack. We didn't know commander damage. We didn't understand combat for 3 months. Going into combat, blocking. I used to block with my planeswalker. Like,
that was awesome.
And that's a lot of stuff I want to like help people. Hey, you don't have to play CDH, but I want to make you better as a person and understand the game more. And probably CDH players are really good like commander casual players because they understand the stack, the priority, how things work, transitions, templating, all that stuff, tempo. I mean, all that stuff, it really makes you just a better player in general. And for me, if you're going to do something, don't half-ass it, right?
Amen,
like, for me, I had Dragon, and like, you can only win with combat damage so much. I didn't have any combos. It's just combat damage. And one board wipe, I'm cooked, right?
Right.
But I love playing, I played casual, I used to play casual sometimes with Elden Dragon Highlander with Josh. He has the spiciest casual decks. Yeah, they're not winning anytime soon, but they have like these crazy things you can do, and it's okay. Like, he has a mono green bears deck that's like just so insane and crazy. He kills bears and he brings bears back, and then he gains life, and then when he gains life, he brings a bear back from the graveyard. It's not good by any means, but in Commander, if like power level 6, 7, it is really good. It's not winning fast, but that's the difference where I really try to get people into. So let's talk about it, man. I mean, especially with the Atraxa, we were still like fairly new within our first year of playing CDH. So let's talk about why you sleeved up the deck, and what made you sleeve up the deck, and talk about, we went to Command Fest and we built it the night before. I'd love to talk about that story. We met Menery. You had 3 decks.
That's probably like the highlight of my CDH like career playing. That's probably like my favorite like part was Command Fest, like and the night before Command Fest.
All
right, so
top 3 memory for me was at Command Fest for sure.
Obi-Wan came out. You know, I what was I even playing at the time before this?
You had you had the box. You had Piran Toothy.
Oh yeah, Piran Toothy, Calamax, and Thrasios Rograk.
Yep.
Oh no, Brawl and Shabraz, Piran Toothy, and Calamax. That was my yeah, something like that. It was butt decks, a combination of butt decks is what I had. It's so bad, Calamax. All right, we're not talking about it.
Yeah. No, it's not that just it was bad. It was how high you were on it was what pissed me off.
I blew up Malcolm Vile Smasher, the deck I was winning so much with for Calamax. I was like, bro, I get 2 impulses.
I was like, bro, I'll get Calamax since it beats your deck. But you're like, no, this is the best deck ever. I'm making it my main deck. I'm like, bro, you're tripping. This is the best deck I've ever played in my life. I'm like, you're fucking high. What are you
2 impulses, bro? What are you talking?
Because you have to, because there's like, I'm like, oh, okay, so it has haste and it goes right away. You're like, no, it doesn't have haste. I have to wait another turn, and I have to be in tap, and it has to be tapped, and I have to do this, and I have to high-five my mom,
bro.
Baby. I'm like, what else condition do you need to do something with Commander? The Commander.
I had Springleaf Drum, bro. All I had was Springleaf Drum. That's all I needed. Anyways, fuck that stupid card. That's my biggest mistake. Anyways, Obi-Wan came out. I saw this card. I was in Target, texting another buddy of ours, and then you, 7, and
7 but
I was like, dude, this card's insane. Like, this is like the food chain card. And then we all ended up deciding that it's fine, right? It's an okay card.
Yeah.
Then it just went away. It went away. Like, we didn't talk about it again.
That was before Tivit. That was before, like, Tivit really opened.
Yeah.
Because my brother, Twitch, he's a really good Magda pilot. He's one of the best players in the world, in my eyes. And he's like, if that's 6 mana planeswalker out my face, it says a lot of things. It doesn't do anything. It's a 6 mana commander. It's not going to work. And this is, I think that was, a month or 2 before Atraxa came out. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So this happened, everything happened, and I saw this card, I'm like, dude, this is before battles were fucking revealed yet, I'm pretty sure. And everybody was like, what the fuck is a battle? Because this card got leaked. Yeah. Everybody was like, what's a battle? And Yeah, so this is like, it got leaked. It's not even come out yet because it came out during Command Fest. It's got leaked, and I was like, this card's gonna be nuts. And then we all decided, me, you, and Seven were like, it's fine. It's 7 mana, like it's crazy. And then I think the next time we talked about it was 7 pulled up with it.
Yep.
And I think, oh no, because what I was talking about, I kept pushing the card on you guys. I remember now. That's why it was like, this card's good, dude. This is the fucking food chain deck.
It was just one of those
And
things,
then,
like, I'm gonna build that deck one day. You just did onto it. It's fine. It's not that big.
And then 7 pulled up with it, and I was watching him play it, and I was like, I looked at his deck list, and it was like on the fucking Neoform variant, and I was just like, dude, I know for a fact I can build this deck 10 times better. Like, this deck, and then I'm pretty sure, because I didn't see it before, but I'm pretty sure that me and you birthed the archetype of Flicker, Storm, Turbo, Atraxa.
Well, I think the only take that I have is I gave you Teferi.
Yeah. Oh, I clicked and I was like, dude, I'm gonna flicker this hoe, because Displacer game was still fresh. But yeah, dude, I saw this card. This was like the night before Command Fest.
Yeah.
I went to the local card shop. I found as many Flicker cards as I could. The Dominaria Remastered had just come out, so Momentary Blink got reprinted. Ephemerate, and I had Pure and Toothy.
I remember
Emil, and I had Pure and Toothy, which also flickers.
No, we went to the shop.
So we had
our last card we needed was Emil. And then what's his name? Richie. He had a casual unicorn deck. And I was like,
give me this.
We'll give you $5. And if he doesn't give you back, you have your $5. Just keep it. He's like, okay. Like, we thought it was the best card ever.
Yeah. 3 mana Flicker Atraxa. Holy
Yeah.
But I needed an Ephemerate, and I got the Momentary Blink from Bulk from Dominaria Remastered. I had Pure and Toothy, which already played all the Flicker cards.
Essence.
Sounds like this deck replaces Pure and Toothy, Essence Flux, Siren's Roost, Ghostly Flicker.
Yep.
All that. So I was like, oh my god, dude, this is how I'm gonna build this deck. Like, this is like the one good idea I've ever had.
And we didn't even like play against each other, because it was like like midnight when we finished the deck, and then we got it 7 in the morning. Yep.
Yeah.
7 in the morning we went to Command Fest, and I remember. So what we did, because they didn't allow proxies, what we did is we put stickers on the inner sleeves so we can play 3 or 4 decks. So what Barrick did was, I think you had the 3 decks, and then you had Atraxa. We were like, I want to play Atraxa first. I want to try this. Well, then you ended up not playing any other deck that whole day.
I played Atraxa all fucking day.
Probably 10.
I fucking won so many games in that tournament they played there, dude. Like, I won so many, and it's funny because the Teferi Displacer Can thing, I was like, yeah, I mean, that's cute. I wasn't really on it, and Josh was like, put this fucking card in the deck right now. And the first game I played, I got Atraxa out turn 2, and then turn 3 I casted Teferi Displacer Can with like a mana crypt or something, and Josh was in the middle of his fucking tournament game, and I walk up from the table after winning. I go over to Josh's tournament game, I tap him on the shoulder, I was like, you were right. And that was the end of that. But yeah.
Displacer Kitten and Teferi's a combo in Tibet that I didn't really do much of it. And I'm like, hey man, listen, I know these decks aren't the same, but if Displacer Kitten is the best card in your deck, I think you should add a combo with Displacer Kitten. And you're like, man, all right, I guess I'll in the deck. Teferi will never leave Atraxa, ever.
I won with it. I won with Food Chain once, and every other game I won with Teferi Kitten.
Or just Teferi Thoracle, or Teferi anything else, or
Teferi is a silence.
Yeah, that card is so good. It's really good in Sisei too.
Yeah, it's insane. That card is nutty.
And it's a Planeswalker. Hello, Atraxa. We haven't even read Atraxa yet.
Right.
It's funny.
Right. Oh, yeah, okay. We should probably do that. I mean, yeah, okay. So Atraxa Grand Unifier is a 7 mana, 3, and then green, white, blue, black, 7/7. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Angel. Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, and Lifelink, which is hot. I mean, it's an homage to the old Atraxa, obviously.
Why they?
Whenever Atraxa ETBs enters a battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, which is artifact, battle, creature, enchantment, all the works, For each card type, you may put one card from that type into your hand. Put the rest on bottom of your library in any order. So obviously, Food Chain, Hullbreaker, Displacer Kitten, like, it's insane. So the first variant was slam this Atraxa as soon as possible, because the whole idea was, and why it worked so well that at that time, like, turn around Atraxa, people weren't force of willing this card yet. People were not scared of this. They didn't respect it at all.
Right.
So you can get away with a turn 2 Atraxa every time, and then you win turn 3. They're like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
If you like Atraxa, leave 1 mana open and then ephemerate, that's 3 Atraxa flips for your next turn, and then you just win.
It's game over.
That's 40 cards or 30 cards you're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you're
like,
tapping with your mana.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing with Atraxa. We'll get into it later about the no bad cards. Atraxa is probably the best because you want to play it when you're winning, because a lot of times you're like, fuck yeah, I got that turn 2 Atraxa, turn 3 Atraxa, and then you instantly become the threat because those cards are revealed and they see what you're doing, and then they don't let you get away with anything. So you have to hopefully it gets back to my turn and I have a win. And a lot of times it doesn't work. Now it's playing my game plan, sitting behind a Heuristic Study, and then uncounterable Atraxa, the game is over.
Right. Yeah.
But anyways, more about Command Fest. So I think your only losses, I think it was 2 humilities in a game, and I think you're
oh my god
against me. Like, I think I did the Tivit time sieve thing, but other than that,
yeah,
I think you went like 7-3 or 9-2 that whole day, and you were fucking hooked. And I remember vividly on the way home, we were literally talking like a fucking podcast. I was, well, what do you think? How was it? How did it fare? And I'm like, why are we talking like this? We need to make a fucking podcast.
Yeah. Atraxa, that day, it became my favorite Magic the Gathering card, and it still is to this day my favorite Magic the Gathering card. Card's nuts. I just love how fucking good it is, and all the formats that it's legal in. Like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So crazy. Even like Pioneer, I was in that shit ass Pioneer tournament, and I look at every game, and this guy's playing enchantments, and they're bringing enchantments in and freeing in Atraxa or Legacy or Sneak and Show. Yeah, like standard, the fucking
main Atraxa.
Yeah, like I've never seen a card do so much work in so many formats. Granted, I'm only been 8 years, and like the card shouldn't be good. Right.
It's fucking like, 7 mana creature.
I was like, yeah, it's gonna be a commander staple, like casual, of course, and like that's cool. And like not a lot of CDH decks can really like cheat it in. Maybe like a crazy tournament deck, but like at that point, right? Like, and then they're like, well, what about as the commander? And then I vividly remember, so that happened at Command Fest, and then that was your baby for a while. You stopped playing Magic, and when you came back to playing Magic, I was like, hey man, there's just no bad cards Atraxa list, and Atraxa's winning like every week. And you're like, let me get my fucking filthy paws on this fucking thing.
Yeah, because it was, I quit Commander, I quit CDH, right? I stopped playing Commander in general.
Yeah, Atraxa, and then Nixilis and Corvold.
Yeah, and those decks, that was my fucking trio, dog. I was like there.
Oh yeah, you're doing you're winning like game.
And then I quit forever, a couple months at least. And then you were like,
it was a while.
Come play this fucking tournament. Yeah, a couple months, like not 6 months. It's like 4 months about. It was in June. May. May is when I quit. And then whenever that CCS tournament was in November.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember now. Yeah, it was 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. So November.
And spell table, right? Yep.
Yeah, and then you were like, come back, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna put together Tevis Chrome.
No, you were gonna play. No, that was before that. You were gonna play Atraxa in that tournament, and then
that's what I was getting to. That's what I was trying to end up at. Was I was building Atraxa for this tournament, and then you were like, "There's this new no bad cards list," and I was like, "I love good cards, and I hate bad cards."
Mm-hmm.
So that happened, but then
I remember now. Yeah, so we fast forward a little bit. So what happened was you played Tevis Crom before I did, and that was your deck.
Yeah.
And I think that was before Atraxa and all that happened. And
yeah.
When you played it again, you built Tevis Crom again. You're like, I love this deck, and I was like, let's be the Tevis Crom brothers. This is awesome. And then we did that for a few weeks, and I'm like, hey bro, I think it's crazy that you don't have Atraxa sleeved up. You are the Atraxa guy. Like, this is your favorite card in Magic, and that's the best thing about Commander is the better you are at a deck, the better you can play. right? Not just, oh, I have the best deck. Like, no, I'm terrified of you playing Atraxa or Wounded and Comedian playing Kennen. I don't give a fuck what y'all say about Blue Farm or Roxai. It's all about the player to me. I'm holding up interaction for Twitch on Magda, right? That's just my experience. I'm fucking terrified when you come to a table. So you're like, man, you're right. I love Temishkram. It's a good deck, but Atraxa is my baby. And then you literally fucking went like 8-1, 9-1 on spell table. And I've granted there's spell table games. You were fucking doing work. And no, I couldn't do anything. I knew what you're doing at all times. And I was telling people, and we just couldn't stop you. You were on a fucking rampage.
Mm-hmm. And Bronze Russ.
Yep. But that was the whole blow for Blue Farm. And you're like, don't sell your soul. Don't do it. We'll build our old decks. I'm like, you're right. And then that happened. But anyways, so I want to, before we get into the deck tech, I want to talk a little bit about, do you have any advice for somebody sleeving up Atraxa and maybe, hey, I really don't want to play a 7-man commander, but like people like Dylan from Play to Win, they're like, oh, this is fun. This deck is good. It's just, it has to be your play pattern, right?
Yeah.
One of the other times you blew up Atraxa, because you're like, hey, I want a red deck. And then you played Cedh, and you're like, oh, okay, it's not that Atraxa's not good. I just personally want red. I want to explode. I don't want to be a slower player. And you played Cedh for a while. But anyways, go ahead.
The number one thing I gotta say about Atraxa is, like, I play this deck a bunch. I know I love Atraxa too, but you can't be horny for Atraxa. That's what I see a lot of, like when I play against Atraxa or play against Tivit, like nowadays, they want to jam this card so bad, and it's like you can't do that. I mean, there's no way. I mean, obviously, if you get a turn to Atraxa, I mean, you could win the game, but you probably aren't, just because you're already a threat. The flip could be bad. Like, there's a bunch of things that go wrong. You have to like chill. You'll know when the time to cast Atraxa is right. And the second thing is, never cast Atraxa without having 2 mana up afterwards. That's like the number from every. I flipped Atraxa probably 100+ times. I've had probably 100+ Atraxa triggers. 2 mana is the sweet spot. You have to have at least 2 mana after an Atraxa trigger to do anything at all. So I mean, that's really 2 things. Don't be horny for Atraxa, and when you do, have at least 2 mana up afterwards. In my experience.
Yep, I totally agree. Couldn't agree more.
But yeah. So
it's on a win. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was looking at that. We'll talk about that later. I was looking at that.
Born upon a win. That's a fucking story. All right.
So with Atraxa, I agree. We talk about this all the time. The Atraxa Tivit comparison, where I think Tivit and Blue Farm are the best control decks in the format, and Atraxa pilots take it where, hey, this is a mid-range deck. Well, not really. I think Atraxa is a control deck, but it's not really a control deck because you have 4 colors, right? Like, Tivit has to be control. You're more, hey, I'm going to sit behind the Strixus study and pick my windows. That's not really control, but I feel like it reminds me of Kennen and Blue Farm a lot with Atraxa and Tivit, is because the better the player, the better it's going to be, right? What I love about this format, the best player is always top 16, but no player on the planet can guarantee I'm going to win this tournament because there's so much variance, right? So with this deck, kind of like Blue Farm, the better the player, the better the deck's going to do. Of course, you're going to lose. Of course, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. But with Atraxa, Blue Farm, Tivit, not bad players, but newer players on the archetype and in the tournament, because I think tournament EDH is a whole nother thing than casual CEDH.
Yeah.
We'll get into that too. But I really think the more you play the deck, the better you are, the better the deck is. But with Blue Farm and Atraxa specifically, a player that doesn't really know can accidentally win 2 or 3 games. And they're like, oh my God, I might be top 16. I'm the best players ever. And then you go in those top pods, you play against the Woundeds and the Comedians and the Freedom Waffles, and then you just do this crazy shit that you've never seen before. And you're like, oh, I didn't have a chance. Right? So players like you and people that actually grinded with this, and there's nothing in Atraxa or in CDH generally probably, that you haven't seen. Granted, we haven't won, me and you, we haven't won anything big, but we've been to the big tables. You've been to the top 16s. We've won a couple tournaments. We have an idea. So I would put my money on you with Atraxa than I would, let's just say, Eric with Blue Farm, even though Blue Farm's better. But as pilots, you're night and day better than Eric just because of your experience, right? Like I'll give Comedian fucking Narset, and it would wipe the floor with any Blue Farm player. So that's the thing with Atraxa is, hey, I need to know when to pick my spots. I need to know, hey, maybe I don't cast a silence here. Maybe I do this. Maybe I blow this guy out. Maybe I do counter the Cedh because I don't want somebody to outvalue me, because the issue with Atraxa, you don't have card advantage.
That's the big thing, is making sure people don't have more advantage than you. I'm playing right. I'm playing fucking Trouble in Pairs, Ristic Study, Mystical Mora, Talion, Archivist of Ogma. Like, I'm playing so much advantage to where it's like, I want to make sure that I am getting the most advantage at the table, because I need that. With Atraxa, you need to have more advantage than people at the table to do anything in the game.
And that's probably why Blue Farm is better, because Blue Farm doesn't have to play those theoretically bad cards. Like, Ogma isn't a good card, but in the archetype, you have to run Ogma. Right, so they have that in the command zone twice. Right. So their Archivist of Ogma is just a better card in general. Right, like that's
get off Ogma. And get off my baby boy.
And it's in red. No, I got back on Ogma. Right, but in those colors in red, you don't need cards like that because you have a Crom. Like accessible Crom, you have a Timna. In this deck, like, I'd almost be on Ledger Shredder. Right, Fairy Mastermind. You would think about like Taxium Probe. Those cards are generally not good. So with Atraxa, let's talk about the no bad cards. Atraxa, historically, what's it been, about 2 years now? I think the better pile of cards, because you're in 4-color, right? You're in Sans Red. The better pile of cards, the better Atraxa plays. But it also does, it matters on your play style, right? Like, you're on 6. I haven't seen any. I like 6 in this archetype. I haven't seen 6 anywhere. I'm looking at 3 or 4 deck lists. I don't see it anywhere. So you have 6, Born Upon a Win, Culling Ritual. Like, you're on
Hustler being in this deck is crazy. Like, it's insane.
I want to talk like Born Upon a Win. I remember one time I was actually in a tournament with it was just a 30-40 person tournament. And I was Tevish Crom. I had Dockside for like 11. And you're like, guys, you can't let him fucking dock. He's in Grixis. And then you cast this Born Upon a Win. And your politics were, I'm just going to cast an Atraxa and see what I got after. And there is no way we let this fucker on Atraxa resolve this Born Upon a Win. You're like,
everybody else that's not playing Atraxa, I swear to God, you better listen close and listen here. If somebody says, let me cast Atraxa to see what I get, you better not fucking let them do it.
Well,
as an Atraxa pilot, that means I'm winning the game with this Atraxa flip.
Well,
every time.
Instant speed.
On top of your Dockside.
Let me instant speed Atraxa, and then whatever I get, I can cast. No fucking chance. No shot. I think Born Upon a Win, really, I only play it in red decks, but Atraxa specifically, I don't know if I told you to play this card, but it is so fucking good. Not even just, that's the nuts, right? Just think, hey, end step, I'm going to cast this fucking Grand Abolisher, and I untap. If that resolves, I untap, and if y'all don't do anything on that end step, the game's over. And I have that 2 extra mana I could do anything else with. Like, okay, let me just snap this Born Upon a Win. Let me throw out this, to Displacer Kitten instant speed, or this Esper Sentinel or Dranith. Like, there's so much tempo plays in this deck you can do with this. But when people, I don't even think, let me see.
Ooh. Yeah. Look at that. About the, okay, you finish.
In the main deck, they're not Born Upon a Win. So when they're going to look at the best Atraxa deck, they're going to sleeve it up. And they're going to be like, why the hell Born Upon a Win? That's why. But again, that could be piloting skills, right? I wouldn't have my 10-year-old son, he's talking about getting the CDH, but he doesn't know anything about it. I wouldn't give him Atraxa because of that. Yeah, he might win a game or two because Food Chain is broken and Goracle's broken, right? But he's not going to know how to do that kind of stuff. So I always tell people, like, Kennon's the best example. You're going to see some stuff in Wounded and Comedians lists that are different, right? But it's like, that fits their play style. They like sitting back, or they like being aggro. They like doing this. They like doing that. You're more of, you just built Azorius or Jeskai, Azorius, whatever.
Jeskai energy control. And
Azorius control of Flage in Modern. Because you're like, hey, this is my play style and I'm better at this. And like we said earlier, I really think a player, if they take the 5th best deck in the format, but they're the best player in the world, they're going to be better than those other 4 decks, I think, in my mind. That's just talking to everybody. I'm talking to Max P. I'm talking to Mood. I'm talking to Comedian next week. I'm talking to one of the front runners of Magic, like talking about the ruling and stuff. So I'm doing the work. I'm doing the grind. I'm not playing as much as I want to, and I want to in the future. But that's what we're talking about is, hey guys, don't cast this Cursed Totem on turn 1 because you're on the play. Because that Cannon Pilot is going to work around that, or the Magna is going to work around that and then remove it in step and then win. Do it when they're set up, right? Do a Cursed Totem when Sisei's already cast Sisei and all their dorks. And then turn 3, Cursed Totem, now they just sit there and stare at you. You do a turn 1, then they're not going to do that, and they're going to go around it. So I really think Atraxa, the better pilot you are, the better the deck is going to be. So go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, back talking about throwing my phone as hard as I can on the ground. Back to talking about Born Upon a Wind.
Throw my phone.
Yeah, Born Upon a Wind, it's, if you really think about it, Born Upon a Wind is like, this is like a really strong deck for it, because the main game plan of the deck is Rhystic Study, Mystical Mora, Trouble in Pairs, Esper Sentinel, Card Advantage, Smothering Tithe. Yeah, that card. That card is probably the second best card in this deck.
Oof. Okay.
Like, people don't understand, like, if I have a Smothering Tithe out, fuck yeah, I'm jamming Atraxa the turn after I cast Smothering Tithe, because I already have so much treasures from it, and especially in this fucking economy, dude, with Rhystic Study being everywhere, you're gonna like, okay, so a game I played, I was playing Tim Necrom 2 nights ago. I had 22 treasures after 2 people went for the win, and I got back to my turn. The Smothering Tithe is so fucking good, and it's always been good, but especially in this meta right now, dude, Smothering Tithe is insane, and it's slept on. People are just now starting to put it back into decks, but it's just like, oh my god. So Born Upon a Wind plus Smothering Tithe, you cast Smothering Tithe, you treasure, or whatever, you make about 5 treasures, because it's like turn 3, turn 4, you know, you're chilling. Then you cast a Born Upon a Wind, and then you just win the game with Smothering Tithe. Born Upon a Wind wheel, like, I'm not on wheel right now, but I don't know why I'm not on Windfall. I took it out at some point, trying to put it back in, but Windfall, Smothering Tithe.
It's fine. You don't need it.
Yeah, but just Smothering Tithe in general, it's just, Smothering Tithe, like, vanilla Smothering Tithe is still good. Like, especially with Tim Necrom and fucking all those decks, like Frogside constantly wants to wheel all the time, like.
Well, and I compare Smothering Tithe to One Ring. I feel like a turn 1 One Ring or turn 1 Smothering Tithe, I don't see a planet where you lose the game.
My very first actual like tournament at Sky High with Atraxa, I won the game because I land Chromox, Mana Vault, Smothering Tithe versus fucking Rogsai, and then some mono blue deck. And then they just kept drawing cards, and they kept doing things, because it's like, Smothering Tithe is good because drawing cards is a thing that happens in the game no matter what. Like, right now, drawing cards is the fucking thing to do.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
it doesn't say the first card drawn for a turn or anything like that. No,
right.
You draw a card. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just
in one rotation. Yeah.
Right. It's really strong. That card's good. So that plus Born Upon a Wind, I think I talked so much shit on Born Upon a Wind. Like, I didn't want to put it in any decks. I was like, it goes in fucking Rogsai for Necropotence. Like, that's about it. But then, dude, I play it in almost every single one of my blue decks now. Like, that card's really strong, especially in this archetype. So it's kind of surprising to see it's not played at Atraxa.
Well, this is one of the only non-red decks I feel like Born Upon a Wind is good in. Like, I don't think Tivit's on Born Upon a Wind because Tivit's a control deck. Like, I don't need instant speed, right? Like, that's the reason. But in this deck, you're like, I don't give a fuck about Underworld, because the dream is a response to your thing. I'm going to Born Upon a Wind and do my Breach line, right? Like, that's why Born Upon a Wind is so good, because the main combos, you can just Thoracle, okay, I'll wait for my window, I'll Thoracle, Reach, instant speed. But in this deck, let's talk about it. You have 6 win cons in the deck. You have Displacer Kitten to Fairy. You have Thoracle. You have
Meme
Boot
bat.
Chain. You have Meme Betrayal's a win con. Finale Devastation's a win con. Praetor's Wrath is a win con. Slash, it gets your fucking your Thoracle's your main win con. So grab some
Allbreaker.
or hey, anything else, a Dockside. A Dockside in this fucking economy would go crazy. Right?
Yeah. Don't forget Hullbreaker.
Yeah, Hullbreaker, that's a baby's crying for some reason. Hullbreaker, and you're on all the clones, right? Like this deck can win out of nowhere, but it also it can win where it's like, hey guys, we don't have the good thing about I wouldn't call this deck a slower deck. So you're like, okay, Dream is turn 1 Rhystic Study, right?
Oh, I would absolutely call it a slower deck for sure.
Yeah, so turn 1 Rhystic Study, turn 2 Rhystic Study, that's the Dream. Like we're not talking about the tomorrow. So that's the Dream. So it's just like, I'm going to casually play my spells. Oh, I have 7 mana. I'm not worried about Atraxa. I'm going to do my thing. Whatever. Oh, shit, I have 11 cards in my hand. Right? Like, you could easily go, no, I'll just go down to 7. I'm not going to win. I'm going to cast this One Ring, and then I'll pass. And then the world is your oyster, right? Like, you can just... Okay, let me Born Upon Wind, Praetor's Wrath, grab your Oracle. Okay, cool. Untap, pass the Oracle. It's like, fuck, like, where did that come from? Oh, I have this Ranger Captain out, too. And I have a Silence, and a Grand Abolisher, and a fucking Cutzel, and a Vexing Bauble. I have 5 Silence effects, and Counterbalance.
Yeah, Cutzel was really good at for this deck. I loved when Cutzel came out. But the thing about that's since we're talking about that, the Rhystic Study thing, that we should talk about the downside of this deck, like where the main downside is. So this situation happened, like this actually happened, like in a tournament setting.
Can you talk for a minute? I gotta fix Talon. Go ahead.
Yeah, of course. So what happened was I was playing Atraxa, and the person next to me was playing Tim McCraw, Blue Farm. We had the exact same board state. We both had Rhystic Studies sitting on our board, and then we drew like almost same amount of cards. Like we were all both drawing cards. I go untap, play like maybe 1 or 2 mana rocks, play a random creature. I couldn't do anything because I didn't have the mana source to like. I didn't have like the explosion necessary to do anything. So I was low on mana. I had like maybe 4 or 5 mana. I had 1 mana rock because I'm only on like 14 artifacts, which is a bunch, but so 14 minus 1, 2, 3, so 11 artifacts. One of them is Jewel Lotus. So it's like, bruh. We drew cards, and then I passed, discard the hand size. This person untaps and goes Dockside Extortionist. So it's like the explosion factor is rough. I mean, you have a nuke in the command zone, yes, but that's a very hard fucking nuke to get off. Like that's the one problem with the deck, is why I eventually ended up not playing it in tournament EDH anymore, is because of that explosion factor. I would draw 15 cards, I would get a bunch of stuff out, but I didn't have like the necessary things to explode. I couldn't just cast an Underworld Breach and start popping off.
Right.
I couldn't cast a Dockside and go. I didn't have Rite of Flame. I didn't have any of that. I didn't have a gamble. Like I didn't have any of that. So it's just like, fuck, man. Like I draw these cards, but I'm discarding the hand size and passing. But
I think the problem too right now in tournament EDH, you have Blue Farm, Cedh, Rogsai. They're on their own planet, and then Nadu is on. Everyone's horny for Nadu. I think it's gonna go down, but right now it's number 4 for sure. And then you have Kinnan, right? So you have the first 5. I feel like Atraxa's not particularly good against those 5, but
which
on the flip side, the second 5, right? You have Tevis Crom, you have Tivit, you have those other decks where Atraxa thrives in those decks.
Yeah.
Right? Atraxa
S tier and then A tier.
Yeah. Well, Atraxa is one of the best Swiss decks. Like Atraxa could always, I wouldn't say the best Swiss deck, but it could always easily get into top 16. But this top 16 pod, you're like, oh, Rockside, Blue Farm. There's no planet I win here in Atraxa. I'm just not fast enough. Tivit doesn't win. Oh shit, there's no way. Or Rockside, Cedh, or Blue Farm, Cedh. What planet are you winning? You're hoping that they fuck with each other and then you win, but winning tournaments isn't awful luck. Like, yeah, things have to go your way, but it's just skill, so that sucks, and that's what I don't like about 60 card is matchups. I hate that I lost because I sat down with this deck against that deck. That's everything I'm against. So that's why Atraxa, I would still work on this deck. I don't know about a big like CCS event, But I would 100%, if you were like, hey man, you want to take my Atraxa deck to Sky High? Yeah, I'll fucking do it because it is still a good deck. It's just not good. Right now. You have to give me a good reason not to play those first 5 decks. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Right now, I've talked to 3 people that have been to the tournament, the invitational. Blue Farm is not the best deck right now. Right now in the format, Blue Farm is not the best deck. We need to figure out how to stop Roxai. Since Modern Horizons 3 in this last one with Valley Flood Caller, Roxai dominated the top 16. There was like 9 Roxais and 2 or 3 Blue Farms. And those 2 or 3 Blue Farms are the best pilots in the world. And Blue Farm somehow won the invitational because Roxai on the play went turn 1 Time Twister, this, that, and then they ad-nosed and they sad-nosed. And then Bowmaster killed him, and then Blue Farm took over the game with control, right? But that was Roxai's an issue. So decks like Atraxa, I wouldn't bring it anywhere near Roxai. You're not, unless you have no card advantage and a Force of Will in your hand with a blue card to pitch. That's the only hands you can really, or like on the play, turn 1 Remora. That's the only hands you can really keep against a Roxai in this deck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I got you, but again. Fucking this deck is crazy.
No, for sure. Like, people should definitely still respect this deck, like 100%. But it's just like,
do you still have it sleeved up?
No, I had to borrow cards from it. I definitely plan on putting. We'll talk about it later, but this Turbo Flicker variant, the new variant with the new cards, is the one I'm gonna re-sleeve up.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit about it. I mean, we have probably 10, 15 minutes or so, but I want to talk a little bit about. Oh my God, my baby! I don't know why he's crying.
Hey, yo, shut that baby up.
I want to talk about variants, and I want to talk about innovations. Atraxa is one of those decks. It hasn't had any innovations, right? Since Born Upon a Wind was last year, 6, but not everybody's on 6, right?
Sync into Super Woo.
This is but this is all this. You're not even on. Oh, you are on Sync.
Yeah, I was saying.
It's gotten 2 cards in a year. Right? No one has been like, hey, I want to take the Turbo Atraxa build and I want to do this. Like, Rog Thrasios right now is a top 10 deck because it's like, hey, the polymorph thing's awesome, but let me do this creature version. Okay, that's fine. And then they're like, oh, let me do this crazy untap version. And I made my own pet deck. Instant speed is crazy. I'm on the Simic LAN that you activate it and you can do instant speed. I have 6 or 7 effects that do that. Winning instant speed in that deck, right?
Yeah, so I understand how good winning instant speed is. Like, people don't expect it.
I would love to maybe we can do it on the podcast or do it on Discord or whatever. But I would love to. Let's innovate Atraxa. I think it's crazy that you don't have Atraxa sleeved up. I think it's nuts because you can do so much work with it, but it's just, hey, you look in the mirror and you're like, hey, I'm not beating Roxai, I'm not beating Blue Farm, right? That's why I'm not playing Atraxa, and that's fine. But I don't think there's a planet unless two other crazy decks get printed. Atraxa is still going to be the top 10 deck for this year, right? There's going to be those couple pilots, even the best pilot in the world of Atraxa cat food. That guy, I'm going to talk to him in a couple weeks. NATO, he's on Roxai, right?
Yeah.
Like, if that doesn't tell you anything, it's because of Necrodominance, Born Upon a Wind, Valley Flood Caller, right? All the instant speeds, that just put Roxai over the hill. So now maybe Stacks might have a comeback. You know, Atraxa can play a Blind Obedience and be fine.
A Stacks,
counterbalance.
Yeah, Blind Obedience is a fucking win con. Blind Obedience goes in every Atraxa deck, guys, because it's a win con as well.
Well, it's not just that, it's just insane. It's crying.
Yeah, but it wins the game too. That's even more awesome.
Yeah.
Trouble in Pairs, that card's sweet.
Well, I mean, you're in blue and black. You're probably not winning with that. But yeah. And also Blind Obedience goes around protection.
Yeah, well, it's easy. It's like my 2 things are like my Hullbreaker win cons are, you know, draw my deck with Atraxa, and then Thoracle. If I don't have Thoracle, then I Bowmasters with Hullbreaker, and then if I don't have Bowmasters, then I fucking Blind Obedience. So it's like if you can beat all 3 of that, then you fucking win.
Right. Hold on, I gotta pause it for a second. I gotta fix Talon.
All right.
He just keeps crying. I don't understand why.
He wants to be on the podcast.
He's like, fine, and now he does like the 2 tablet thing. So if you don't give him 2 tablet, he freaks out. But I'm like, bro, they both died. So now they're both at 15%. So in 20 minutes, you're gonna do it again.
2 tablets? This is crazy.
Yeah, give me a second.
Dwellers are an endangered species. If you insist on staying.
Why?
There's no way this could get any worse.
All right, I'm back.
Worse.
All right.
Jesus Christ, there's fucking flying tampons.
What?
I walk in the kitchen, I guess Clint grabbed one of those bags and was flying tampons everywhere.
Awesome. Fuck yeah, Clint tampons.
God, sorry, that was 5 minutes of dead air. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll edit it out. Let's see. Atraxa. Play pad.
That's it.
There's one more thing I want to talk about, and I totally forgot.
That guy, the Atraxa guy, the cat food guy, is gonna like look at this and be like, "What the fuck is this idiot talking about?"
No chance. No chance. So, all right. So I want to end. The last thing I want to talk about is the power of Atraxa and what are your mulligans looking like, and what is the ideal scenario, right? Like, is it just turn one Ristic Study every game, like every other deck? Like, what separates Atraxa from a Tivit or everybody else?
All right. So, I'm sure you'll link this deck list probably, right, in the podcast, so people can check it out. If you look at this deck list, right, so if you find any one of these cards, you'll be fine. I truly think. So Trouble in Pairs, Smothering Tithe, Ristic Study, Mystic Remora, Blind Obedience, Counterbalance. I just named 6 enchantments. Vexing Bauble is a great turn 1 play. Talion, turn 1, turn 2 play. Archivist of Ogma is always good to have. Dranic Magistrate. It's really, this deck plays like, so a couple of things that are like stuff you can like asymmetrical stacks that you can break parity on. Wait, asymmetrical? Yeah, asymmetrical is the one where it doesn't affect you.
Correct.
But yeah. I know that at college. I don't fucking know. Blind Obedience, Vexing Bauble, Dranic Magistrate. That's not, Vex Bauble is not asymmetric, but you can kill it anytime you want. But cards like that like Oppo Agent, like stop. The whole plan of this deck is to not, you obviously want a Ristic Study, like turn 1, turn 2, but to really style with this deck, right. You have to stop your opponents first.
Yeah.
Fucking get out that early Ranger Captain, get that early Dranic Magistrate, get out that early Talion, Ristic Study, fucking Blind Obedience. You have to bring the red opponents to your level to play this game. Yeah. And that's really like what the goal is.
So it's tempo.
Yeah, it's really a tempo deck. At the end of the day, it's a tempo deck. Like, you can call it control, mid-range, whatever. It's like breaching that tempo line, because that's how I play my deck. Every dick, Jesus fucking Christ, cock and balls. That's what I meant to say. Every deck is gonna be different, and people are gonna play it different.
Yeah,
but the way I play it, is this. The way I play it is basically I play every deck like a tempo deck. You know what I mean? So obviously, like, this deck can play tempo.
And mulligans too, right? I think mulligans are everything, and I really feel like the top cards people get horny for are a Jewel Lotus and a Mana Crypt or Mystic Remora. It's like, if you're not doing anything with Mystic Remora, if you have no game plan, for the Jewel Lotus, right? Like, you don't need to. So I think Atraxa is one of those mulligan hard decks. Like, you consistently probably mold a 5 and be fine.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't remember last time I kept a 7 with Atraxa.
Yeah, like
I'm
doing the play test, and I have Mana Crypt, 4 lands, Chromox, and Grand Abolisher. And people are like, oh, that's cool. It's a turn 3 Atraxa. But it's like, what are you doing? Like, that's a trap hand. And in this other hand, I have, on the play, I have Polluted Delta, Mystic Remora, and then I have Elvish Spirit Guide, Esper Sentinel, Arcane Signet, Flesh Duplicate, Grand Abolisher. So it's like second 7, maybe, but you're only on 1 land, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe, possibly, but I would definitely go Polluted Delta, Esper Sentinel, and then turn 2 Mystic Remora, and then it probably sticks around a lot longer. But that's just pod composition. So I really think, what's the dream hand? You're just like land, Mana Crypts, turn 2 Smothering Tithe, turn 1 Ristic Study. Like, is that just the game?
Yeah.
And then you kind of go with the flow. I think that's why you like the deck. It's kind of how, whatever your hand is, that's your game plan type deal.
Yeah, you could play this deck so many different ways depending on what your hand looks like. Like, it's like, you could say, like, obviously you're mulling for Ristic Study. That's the card you want to see. That's the card anybody wants to see.
Right, that's why.
But you can look at any hand and be like, okay, I'm gonna slow down my opponents with this blind obedience and then go from there. It's like the thing about Jewel Lotus turboing Atraxa out. There's been times where I've thought about cutting Jewel Lotus. That's how like you got to think about how you cannot be horny for Atraxa because you aren't gonna win the game if you play like that.
Well, I wouldn't cut Jewel Lotus only because of whole.
Well, I wouldn't either. But I'm saying is there's been points where I've thought about it.
Yeah, but that's like your Mox Opal spot. Really, like Mox Opal is decent in this deck, but it's not perfect. Jewel Lotus can do that. And it's just he doesn't win here, and then you're just like uncounterable Grand Abolisher, and they're like, oh, he only has 5 mana. I really see him winning, and then you go Jewel Lotus Atraxa 2 mana up, game's over.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's why I think Jewel Lotus is so good. Let's talk about Hullbreaker Horror. A lot of people aren't on it. Neither's cat food. I want to talk about Hullbreaker, Cutzel, Trouble in Pairs, Counterbalance, and Talion isn't in the main list that's done a lot of things. Like, I think if I were you, I wouldn't leave home without those cards.
No way.
Is a fucking win con. Granted, you haven't done what he's done in the deck, but still, like, you don't ever come off a Hullbreaker, right?
No, not even a little bit. That card is just so good. Like, it's the cards that are already in your deck win with it, right? So it's every time it's 7 mana win the game.
Yeah.
And if it's not, it's a fucking Hullbreaker. Like, come on. It can't be countered, which is like insane. Like, why was this card printed? Like, it can't be countered. It's a control piece. Like at its worst, it's a control piece. Cards that already go into your deck, like Blind Obedience and Ogre's Bowmasters, are win cons with it. And then your fucking mana rocks. Every deck plays mana rocks. So why would you not play a card that wins with mana rocks?
That's what I like.
And your commander's an outlet.
That's what I like with Atraxa is it's an outlet for everything. It's
right.
Granted, you're not on red, but it's a Doxo outlet. It's a fucking Hullbreaker outlet. It's a food chain outlet. Like, Jesus Christ. And it's like, oh, darn, you cast a Dranith. I can't cast my Atraxa ever. When I'm casting Atraxa, I don't give a fuck about your Dranith. I'll figure it out. I'm removing your Dranith, food chain, doing the thing, and then casting Atraxa and winning the game. I think that's the common misconception of this deck is, I don't want a 7-mana commander. That's irrelevant. That comes up sometimes, but that's not even my game plan. I want you to cast a Dranith Magistrate to stop the fucking Rockside player.
Right.
Right?
Listen, Atraxa pilots, you do not have a 7-mana commander. You have a 3-mana commander, and it's called Rhystic Study. That's how you have to play this deck.
Yep. No, I agree.
You shouldn't even think about Atraxa unless, one, you have no cards in your hand, right? If you have 0 cards in your hand, you can cast Atraxa, okay?
Or if you're not doing anything else, and that's your... Like, you just like, hey, guys, that guy definitely wins. Let me just see what I can get with Atraxa. And it's like, all right, man, fuck. And then you're like, oh, shit, I win here, guys. My bad.
But you have to do that. Like, I've done it, like, multiple times where it's like, people won't let that happen unless, like, if you just straight up show your hand as 4 lands, people are going to let your Atraxa raise off if there's a problem.
What are the odds, right? Like, that guy,
like, come on.
He has a Grand Abolisher in his hand that we know about. He's going to win. Let me just get this off and let's hold mana. And then a lot of times it's nothing. You get interaction. Yeah. But a lot of times it is, though, you're pushing for the win. But you kind of...
Or holding it back.
But when that happens, though, that's like... not a bad play pattern, but when that happens, shit went down, right? Like, something happened. Like, you have a Surveil land and you're on Surveil lands, but you never, ever want to top deck the fucking Surveil land. You only want to fetch if you're not doing anything else. That's a bad play pattern, but in this deck, it's fine because you're going to have times like that, and you do have a 4-pip commander. So I definitely get it. And, like, also with Hullbreaker, I don't know if anybody's been smoking crack lately, but it's like the Miss Hologriffin. It's blue. Gemstone Cavern, Chrome Mox, Force of Will, Force of Negation. That's why we played, Miss Hologriffin. And that's why a Hullbreaker's like, if I have to pitch this fucking Force of Negation, pitch it with Hullbreaker, I'm fine because I'm not losing the game. And I have
which happens a lot.
5 other win cons, right? That's why I miss Hologriffin. It's fucking insane in this deck. Chrome Mox pitching a Miss Hologriffin and 3 turns later casting a food chain. It's like, oh shit.
People forget. People forget.
It's just sitting there because you can tap the Chrome Mox and then cast your Miss Hologriffin.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, yeah. That's just so insane. But
Yeah, Hullbreaker's good. Play it.
Hullbreaker's good, and then what are the other cards? He's not on Toxic Deluge
Italian?
or Counterbalance. Well, Italian.
Well, you want to go? Do you want to go by creatures or go by?
I'm just looking at a couple because Ogma, Savine's Wreck, that's all like whatever. I just want to talk about. I just want to talk about if someone were to see the deck, they're not looking at your list, they're looking at his list. So if someone's looking at your list because this podcast, I want to talk about, hey, this is why you're on these cards. So
Okay.
Savine's Wreck, Toxic Deluge, Italian's a card up in the air, right? And Veil of Summer. I feel like a lot of the like comedians not hot on Veil of Summer. I don't think a green deck goes home without Veil of Summer. And Toxic Deluge, you don't give a fuck about creatures. You're like a Timid deck where you don't care.
Exactly.
Oh, darn, I blew up your board and I blew up my Ogma and my birds. Like, so fucking what? Blue Farm had 7 fucking creatures. You have a Loco. Like, you're only playing your creatures. You know, you don't care. You're Bowmaster, Oppo, Esper Sentinel. By the time you're casting a Deluge, something went wrong and you've already gotten your shit. Right?
Yeah, I'm losing.
Yeah, so I don't understand why they're not on Deluge. And Vexing Bauble is another silence effect. That's a stable fucking form.
Well, speaking of that, Veil of Summer, people forget that that's a silence effect too.
Right.
Technically.
No, for sure. Well, people don't read this card. Draw a card if opponents cast blue or black spells this turn, period. Spells you control can't be countered this turn, period. It doesn't matter if it's a Pyroblast. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be blue. And then you control gain hexproof from blue or black. So you know what? You don't know how many times I fucking I just go start my turn off with Veil of Summer. They're like, what? Nobody's even casted anything yet. I'm like, okay. It resolves, and then 5 minutes later when I'm storming off, they're like, counterspell. I'm like, okay, that resolves. Yeah. I'll continue. Like, I'll either start with a Veil of Summer because they're like, well, he has 4 mana. You love when people try to guess what you're doing. That's the best thing. Well, he doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. He has 4 cards in hand. He has 5 mana. I don't know. Do we let the Veil of Summer resolve? Yeah, we're gonna let it resolve. I'm not scared. And then you fucking win. Or it's like, oh, we got you. You only have 1 green mana left. And they're like, all right, in response to everything, I'll Veil of Summer. And then it's like, fuck, he got us.
Guys, if people Veil of Summer at the beginning of their turn, counter it every time.
Every time. That is the most misstep thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I want to talk, the last 2 cards I want to talk about. Well, Savine's Wreck, I think, definitely goes in the deck. But I want to talk about Sky Turtle, and I want to talk about Crater's Grass. I love Sky Turtle. I think it goes in every single non-ad nauseum deck. People are high if they're not on Sky Turtle. Not casting spells and doing something good is amazing. And so I still say it's the second best deck in the format. Right? So I'll talk about Sky Turtle, your feelings, and then let's talk about Crater's Grass a little bit, because that's a spicy card that no one's on in Atraxa.
So Sky Turtle, right? I started playing it in Cedh, actually. This is like one of the newer add-ons to this deck is Sky Turtle.
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah, not casting spells is good, especially like really good. But it's like, you know why that this is the card for this fucking deck, dude? Look at the fucking like super type or whatever, the typing of it. Enchantment creature?
Turtle.
Not the turtle, fuck off. Enchantment creature? That means I can get it as an enchantment with Atraxa or a fucking creature with Atraxa. Like those times where you're fucking struggling and then it's like Ristic Study in this or fucking like Braid of the Magistrate in this. Like you can get both because it is both typings. Atraxa doesn't stop you from, if it's like an enchantment creature, you can get an enchantment creature and a creature because you choose this as your enchantment like slot.
Yeah.
So it's just like, this is like the card for this deck, I feel like. Dude.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
I played 1 game last night on the spell table, Rog Thrasios, and I tutored for this card. They're like, what are you going to worldly tutor for to get us out of this bind? I'm like, we'll see. So I get Colossal Sky Turtle, and they're like, oh shit. And I was like, okay, let me get Sky Turtle. I'm going to return Breach to my hand. I don't give a fuck about y'all stacks. The Dahada played it out of time and shit on everybody's commander. All right. I'll get Breach back. Cast Breach. Win the game.
Yeah.
They're like,
win?
Holy shit. What?
Yeah.
Because he had a, what do you have? I think he had a miscast. He had something for instant or sorceries, and I knew that. So I was like, well, I'm thinking, hey, if he counters this Worldly Tutor. But I was like, hey, don't counter this Worldly Tutor because that guy's winning, and I'm trying to get something to get rid of it or whatever it was. And he's like, okay, I won't counter it. So after Worldly Tutor resolves, there's nothing he can counter that's relevant. You're going to counter my Brain Freeze? All right. Hey, once I saw a mind break trap, I don't remember what it was, but I was like, okay, cool. And I just won, and he's just staring at a miscast or something, and I'm like, GG's.
Right.
He's like, yeah, you got me. Like that Sky Turtle, or it in step channel. Get rid of your fucking Sisay where you're trying to win, or get rid of your Dranith or something. That card has so much utility. Also, well, I don't think you're on Kennen, but I love it's a flying warp 2/6/5. Like,
yeah. This is the reason the Sky Turtle I don't think it's seen very much play is because this, at least for me, it's my ad nauseum slot. So like in Thrasia's Vile Smasher or in this deck, or it's like stuff like that, it's just like you play this, or that's my ad nauseum spot, or Consecrated Sphinx. So I thought about Consecrated Sphinx so much in this deck, guys. Like, trust me. But it's just it's kind of slot.
Sphinx spot.
Right, exactly.
Hullbreaker's just better.
But this is like my ad, like, and me personally, this is my ad nauseum spot for Colossal Sky Turtle.
Yeah.
It's if I'm not playing ad nauseum and my deck plays green blue, it's going in the deck no matter what.
And then why are you on Praetor's Grasp?
Oh my god, dude! People don't understand how good that magic card is. Like,
amen, brother.
That's just, it's like, it has so much utility. It's like a fucking Swiss Army knife, right? So if you want to go as far as this, right? This is how it breaks down. One, you find your own win con. You find a Thassa's Oracle. You find a removal spell. You find even a fucking Demonic Tutor from their deck if you want to, right? Second, it gets rid of their win cons. Fucking Praetor's Grasp. I don't know why this first came into my head, but Praetor's Grasp and Elsha and take a fucking Sensei's top, right?
Or Max,
just like
Cockabomans.
Corvold take their Dockside. Like, also, Praetor's Grasp a Dockside and Atraxa is fucking nutty, but we're not even talking about that.
I would love to also work on this deck a little bit. I think there's 2 or 3 cards we could probably talk about, but you haven't really been playing CDH like that, and you've been on Blue Farm. But I would love to talk to you. I think not having Kennen's a little wild, but we could talk about it later.
Yeah.
Kennen and Imperial Seal are like the only cards I would like beg you to put in this deck. But I mean, you're the Atraxa guy, not me.
Praetor's Grasp, it's just you can take their win cons, and then thirdly, like, if you know what you're doing, right? You sit on a CDH table and you know what you're talking about, you can really like kind of figure out what's in your opponent's hand with Praetor's Grasp. If you like really think about it hard. So it's like, okay, is this person winning the game of drawing a lot of cards? Praetor's Grasp you. I'm looking for Underworld Breach, I'm looking for Thassa's Oracle. I'm looking for different cards that, like, I'm looking for the big hitters. If they're not in your deck, then they're in your hand, obviously. So it's like it gets even down to that deep of a level where no matter what, this card is going to be good.
And unless you're getting something to get you out of a hole, I think if Praetor's Grasp resolves in 90% of the scenarios, you're winning the game.
Yeah.
Like,
well, this is what I gotta say about Praetor's Grasp. For Atraxa specifically, it gets a fucking Dockside Extortionist, which is the one card this fucking deck is missing.
Right.
So
yeah, and Breach.
Yeah, well, but I mean, like, Dockside in this deck is crazy.
Also, winning the game, isn't it just Thassa's Oracle most of the time? Like, actually winning, or infinitely flickering Orcish, but then you have to keep fucking casting spells. So you can easily go Atraxa, Food Chain, draw my whole deck, my Thassa's Oracle's gone somehow, I can't get it back. Let me try to draft the Oracle, win. Isn't that just the cleanest line probably there is?
Yeah, it's just easy and simple. It's just... And Praetor's Grasp is just a clean-cut card, dude.
Yeah,
it's really
5 mana Thassa's Oracle's fine. And also, I noticed you're not on Demonic Consultation.
Yeah, so what's the name of this deck? The name of this deck is No Bad Cards Atraxa. Consultation's a bad
Sky
card.
Turtle, but besides that.
Sky Turtle's a good card. No, fuck you. That card's insane. That card is so good. I'm dying.
I just mean generally, if we're ranking cards,
that card's good. It's like number 3. Sky Turtle is number 3 best CDH card.
Okay. All right, everything you said is null and void now.
Nah, but in reality, Console is like dog shit. Like, Tainted Pact is just better in every way, except the mana thing. But like, it's fine because you're not really jamming a turn 2 Tainted Pact. Just that Oracle win.
Yeah, but Tainted Pact without anything else is fine.
Exactly. You can actually use the. You do not want to use Consultation.
It's a staple in CDH for sure.
And that's kind of the whole point of this deck is like, really, no matter what you're casting, it's going to be okay, except Thoracle, obviously, and then the Food Chain and Thoracle, obviously. But for everything else...
Win cons, and that's fine.
Right. For everything else, you want your cards to be okay by themselves. That's really what this deck boils down to. Is no matter what you're drawing, you're going to be able to do something with it most of the time.
Yeah.
That's like the whole goal.
Yeah, 5 cards, right? Griffin.
So yeah,
Thor.
Food Chain, Griffin. Oh, Food Chain's even like a card that you can play. Like exile your creatures and cast 4 creatures.
Yeah.
In that tournament, I casted Ogma to fucking get 3 mana. Like I used it as a fucking ritual.
Yeah.
I casted Ogma with the Food Chain out to get 3 mana instead. Like that card works on its own. You kill your mana dorks, cast Atraxa. Like it's insane.
Yeah, I think
that's the one thing, dude. If Bowmaster does get a ban, this deck gets a lot better because I can play more mana dorks again.
I don't think. Yeah, that's old. I don't think.
You're right. I'm just saying. I think this deck misses.
Now I remember. I think on board you had like Esper Sentinel. Yeah, you casted Atraxa, right? So then you got Food Chain with your Atraxa. You're like, all right, cool. I think I have it here. We're like, are you sure? And then I channeled Odabara and you went around it and you did it. So then Food Chain resolved and you're like, okay, tap my Birds of Paradise for blue, eat it with Food Chain for 2 more blue, eat my
yes, I was at 3.
Cast Argus Ogma, eat that, eat my Esper Sentinel, and then we're like, oh shit, he's got a bunch of creature mana. And then you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Eat my Atraxa, cast Atraxa again.
Then I hit the Griffin. Then I hit the Griffin off that Atraxa.
Then you,
yeah.
No, you're right. You were literally like, tap birds, cast Ogma, eat Cedh, eat fucking Atraxa. Okay, now I have 10 creature mana. Okay, cool. Cast Atraxa. Okay, cool. Griffin. GG's. And we're like,
win.
Fuck.
Yeah, that was a tournament.
And I love the, do you win here? And yeah,
we'll fucking see. I'm about to flip this Atraxa. We're gonna find out.
I love when you'll put like Silencer Grand Abolisher on this stack, and you'll be like, ah, and we're like, uh-oh, and you're like, no, it's fine. I don't even know what's going on. We're gonna figure this out together, and then you get the craziest Atraxa flip on the fucking planet.
Yeah.
It'll be like Chromox, Griffin, Force of Will, fucking Activation, Food Chain, and we're like, what? You got the 5 best cards you could have possibly got?
Yeah, you have to have RNG to play this deck, guys. That's what it sort of boils down to. You have to have luck. You have to have luck, and that's the only thing.
Yeah.
It's all luck, no skill. That's how you play Atraxa.
That's the name of the podcast. All luck, no skill.
Yeah, all luck, no skill. I love that.
But all right, man, that's my time.
Right.
I gotta see what my kids are doing. I appreciate you on the pod. We got to do it again. Do you have anything you want to plug again?
I'll just put my YouTube. That's good. Let's make a revival soon, guys. I'm back into Magic, make Magic videos and
HolySeptic.
HolySeptic.
Yep.
HolySeptic on everything. Yeah, Moxfield. Even if you want to look at my list, I'll plug this deck in the description. But yeah, that's about it. Can I do the outro music, please?
All right. Yeah, why not? All right, guys. Thanks for listening again. You're awesome. Play some CDH. Here's the outro.
I love you guys. Boom, 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 boom. Right.